having that roadmap so that they know by this date I should be able to do this, by this date I should be able to do that.
Stop being so selfish, invest in somebody else, become a mentor, and then you can actually empower yourself to like develop somebody and see how cool it is.
We have to be careful not to put people with like this commercial agent that handed me a book and said, here, you have to read all these. That's not the way someone learns.
All right, so I am joined here for another ridiculously amazing insurance agent podcast. We've got Bobby Fernandez and Therese Potter, and we're going to talk a little bit about why we recommend having leaders in your agency and how it can really impact your team's training and development. So we're welcoming a lot of new people into this industry right now, but even the veterans, right? Training them on new technologies, new processes, new ways. I say this all the time. Your biggest expense in an agency is your payroll. And that's like saying that your house never gets maintenance. We need to continuously develop and train our team so that they can be absolute badasses and kick butt and take names and make it the best team on the face of the planet. That is one of the things we want. So tell me a little bit, like, Therese, where do you see the role of leadership as far as it comes to training and developing the team?
I think leaders, it's very important that you lead your team by example, that you are always looking for learning opportunities, not only for yourself, but for your team. Spending time with other insurance agents that do the similar things that you do is great because they get to see what others are doing and what others are learning. There's a zillion ways for us to be able to basically show our team that there's a whole new world out there. That the way they're doing things right now may be working, but it may not be the best way to do it. There's always better ways out there. Sometimes we're behind on technology and the leaders need to bring in new technology. Now, I'm not saying go out and get every single new technology you hear because some leaders do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Look at the technology you have right now. See what that technology focuses on and what that technology is really good at, and see how you can train your team to be better at the technology they already have. You may have somebody that doesn't use the management system properly. Well, instead of going in and saying, hey, you're not doing this right, maybe you need to go and say, hey, can I help guide you through this process? Can I show you some tips and tricks how to do it easier? Because they may just not know how to use it or not know how to do it. My husband came home, he's got this new job, and all of a sudden he's got to use Excel, and he's never used Excel in his life.
That can be frustrating.
And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Yeah, it's the easiest things. He has no idea how to do it.
We have a Google Sheets course you could take if you want.
So basically, we need to do an evaluation, look at our staff, self-evaluate to see what leadership skills we need, evaluate our staff on the leadership skills they may need to lead their teams. And then we need to educate and we need to find ways not to go in rudely to people and just say, you need to learn this. We need to slowly ease them in to what it is that we think they need to learn. And we need to go by their personalities to make sure that they understand that we're not trying to attack them. We're trying to help them improve and grow and hit goals and, get to the visions and values and the processes and procedures and how they're done. But it may take baby steps to get there.
Sure. I think that's really good. And Bobby, I know this is a good question for you. You've designed a lot of training programs of bringing new people into the industry and just refining them. Let's talk a little bit about what goes into an effective training program. So if I'm a leader and I'm like, man, I got to train some new people, it's been a million years since I learned all of it. And when I learned it, like I said, when I learned it, it was 4 logins. Like it was not 887. So tell us some things about what goes into a really good training program that leaders could take from.
Well, and I think that this is a challenge for most agencies. They always say, I don't have the time to train. Well, if you don't have the time to train, whatever changes, right? And so I think you have to have a strategy and you have to just take it small bites at a time. Just record yourself doing what you're doing, or pick one of your subject matter experts and say, hey, record yourself doing this thing, and then record yourself in small snippets. And then when you have the time, transfer those things into written standard operating procedures or workflows, and make sure that you're using different types of training modules, whether it's video or in person or shadowing or a written workflow for somebody, because as adult learners, we all learn different ways. And then when you're building out those training modules, you want to think about new hires. Also, when we promote people, just like with this course, with our Ascend course, we're talking about moving into a leadership role. So there's training that's going to happen when you move from one role to another role. Or when are the times we have to send somebody back through a training program that maybe they've already done because it needs to be enhanced or they need additional skill. So when I'm putting together like my training, always keep track of your curriculum and your assets. And you can simply do that by just, putting it into a spreadsheet somewhere. But I like to use a model that I call that's RED, and it's RED. So is it regarding the person's role? Is it regarding our environment? A training regarding our environment? Or is this training to develop the staff into something new? So that way you can always kind of keep track of that. Like, is this in specifically regarding their role that they need training in? Or am I trying to develop them for a new role?
I think that's good. And I also think too, like we have to have patience when we train. I think everyone's like, well, I showed them that. Yep. 3 weeks ago, you showed them that one thing, and like people need practice and accountability, and it's twofold, right? There needs to be the timeline where like, hey, if they're not picking up by this date, it is time to cut bait. But there's also the accountability of the trainer and the manager to actually spend the time with them and train them too. I feel like Teresa has something to say because she's giving me the look.
No, I was just reading through and looking at,
Well,
think of your common challenges.
And I was going to say that you definitely need a roadmap to success, right? So lay that out before the person starts. Don't wing it on day one. Make sure that you know what that roadmap looks like. What are the skills that we need to have? So understanding what are those skills that we need to have, and then breaking it down. These are the training modules. And then like Kelly said, having that roadmap so that they know, by this date, I should be able to do this. By this date, I should be able to do that.
By when?
Yes.
Well, and I will say this, I think a lot of times I do hear this a lot. Like Bobby said, I don't have time to train. I said, well, that's the only way we're going to get out of it. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Buckle up, buttercup. That's how it works, And
Yep.
The other half of the component is like, I find new people come in and nobody wants to give them any work because, well, I don't have time to show them. And I think we have to just be very clear. You are robbing someone of their insurance career that we desperately need. Anything they do can be undone. Okay. Stop being so selfish, invest in somebody else, become a mentor, and then you can actually empower yourself to like develop somebody and see how cool it is. But I think people get burned out because maybe they're not taking notes or it doesn't look like they're paying attention. You have to check yourself as a trainer. Like, am I connecting with them in a way that's understanding it? Or am I talking a million miles a minute using insurance jargon that nobody understands? And this person is what I call a green bean. They're green. And they are just trying to see if this is even a good fit for them. And you're just puking insurance on them. So
now I have a comment.
There you go.
When I started, they put me with a commercial lady who was sick. And they put me with her to kind of learn her job because they were worried that she would get sick and go somewhere. Well, she thought I was there to tattle on her and to tell the boss everything that she did. She handed me commercial manuals and told me that I needed to that was my job. I had to read the commercial manuals. As green, I was in insurance a week, and she told me to go read all the manuals.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's not, you don't want to do that.
No, that's not training. That's reading. So I think another thing that we believe strongly in is mentorship and coaching. So if you're an owner and you see some potential, you need to mentor them and coach them into a leader, right? But there's also the idea of having those one-on-ones, which Bobby talked about in a previous podcast. Like, people are like amazed. Like, I'm supposed to meet with my team like all the time. Like, how often? Like once a quarter. That's my favorite. Like, well, I meet with them at review time. I'm like, so once a year you meet with them? Yeah. what would we talk about every 2 weeks? And I'm like, so many things. If you just tried it, it might be amazing. You might find some things to talk about. But I think like it's awkward, right? Nobody knows exactly what to do or say, but like there's a lot of miscommunication that happens in agencies, especially if people are working remote and, in particular. So these are like check-ins. How's everybody doing? What's new? How can we all support each other? These are all really, really important factors. If we really want to develop the next level of agents, it's going to be looking at their metrics together. It's going to be listening to recorded phone calls potentially. It's going to be saying, hey, you had some spinach in your teeth. I did an audit and you failed it here, and here's why. And it's going to also be just letting them know that you can be trusted, right? And to build up those things. Then slowly but she'll be like, I think Shelly's looking for a new job. Oh, that's good to know. And you'll start getting into the inner circle of the like office gossip on some things that you would have no idea about. So the idea is that you as a leader need to meet with your team. Owners need to meet with their management team. And meetings might seem like, I don't want to do that. I want to just go sell. Totally understandable. But you need to at least meet with a few handful of key people so you don't get blindsided by things either. And that they know that you have their back and that there's time to ask questions. I would tell you this, the one-on-one save time because it's less like, hey, do you have a second? Hey, do you need something? Hey, can I pick your brain? It's like, if it's not essential, it goes on the one-on-one. And all the ecosystem works much, much better. But without that, there's no spot. So everybody just kind of interrupts each other all the time. So Therese, lead us home. What are some of the common challenges that we see with training and development? What are some solutions if you were to summarize here today for us?
I think we see sometimes staff that aren't trainers. They don't know how to train. So I think when we bring new people, sometimes we have to be very strategic on how they're trained. In one of my situations, I was put in a room with 2 other agents. Those agents weren't really good teachers or trainers, but they taught me some simple stuff to do, like changing vehicles out. So I would do all the changing vehicles out, but I was in the same room with them. So when a call would come in, I would answer all the calls. And if I didn't know how to do it, I would pass it to one of them. And then I would listen into their conversation to learn how to do it. So that's basically how I learned, just being in the room with these experienced insurance agents. That was how I trained. So we have to be careful not to put people with like this commercial agent that handed me a book and said, here, you have to read all these. That's not the way someone learns. So we have to be very strategic on how we train the people, who we put the people with, that when they're green and they're learning new things, we have to make sure we pay attention to that. Some solutions, find different time periods where when someone's working on something that they're really good at and they may be able to train with a new person on, you schedule that person with them at those different times. You pass them around to different people so they can learn from different people in the agency. So again, just being really, really strategic. Make sure that you're a leader that leads with your team and not just above your team, telling your team what to do. You don't want to be just telling, barking orders. You want to be showing your team how to do things, especially if you're good at something and you can show them yourself. Make sure that you train them on it. Be supportive. When you have staff that aren't local, you can have, virtual assistants or virtual employees. So a difference there, virtual employees are just employees that are local or in the States and they're just not in the office. And then virtual assistants could be abroad. You have to train differently for those as well. You have to do screen sharing. You have to do Zoom calls or, Teams, whatever system technology you use. But you need to be strategic with those. You need to make sure that people are available when they need to be available for meetings. Sometimes I have, virtual staff that sometimes I need to make sure that they know about a meeting they're supposed to be in because they schedule all the meetings. So they think, oh, I don't have to be in those because I schedule all those, but there's certain ones they have to be in. So you need to make sure that you're on top of that as a leader, paying attention to those and helping guide them through that process to where they can recognize that they need to be in those meetings.
Definitely. So if you're looking to figure out some training and development, that is a component of our new Agency Ascend leadership course too. So check it out. How to develop your team, how to hold them accountable, all things we cover. So it's $4.95 until the end of July. Make sure you grab it. All right, everybody. We will see you all in our next podcast.